Good morning and welcome to this day where we speak about and celebrate AKU at 35. This year is the 35th anniversary of the founding of this university. And when I reflect on that and sitting next to the Vice Chancellor of a university that just celebrated 800 years not too long ago, it sort of puts into perspective what it takes and what a great university, how long a great university can last and continue to make an impact. So we're really grateful to all of you, to Princess Zara and Naguib, who are in the Keraj, who are our trustees, for joining us, and to Vice Chancellor Stephen Toop for agreeing to be part of this event. I'm going to go through what was the vision for the university 35 years ago and where are we today. So this is a bit of a report card, and then you can grade us and tell us how we did. So there was a number of critical areas that the Chancellor identified right in the vision when this was articulated. And you can see it here. It says, the fundamental question on whether a new university in the developing world could achieve sufficient levels of excellence as measured by global standards to bring genuine value to those we are committed to serve. This was the original vision as articulated by the Chancellor in his convocation address in 2013. And I think it's important that we reflect on the key elements of this vision as we go forward. The very first one was that we should be educating leaders, that the people that we produce should be those that will make a change. And there are many examples of this, and I'm going to go through a couple just to give you examples of where some of our graduates are, but the position of leadership that they've taken, not just in their profession, but in development. This is Adil Haider, who is the director of the Center for Surgery and Public Health at Harvard University. He's a professor there, and he's one of our graduates, and that's the impact that he's making. And one of the work that he did, he found out when he was at Johns Hopkins through a study that the care given to African Americans was lower than the care given to others who came to this hospital. Now, that was a very controversial piece, as you can imagine, but he had the courage and the scientific knowledge and the data to be able to show that particular injustice. Here's the example of Mary Mwaniki, who is a public health nurse in Kenya, and the impact that she has made. And you can see what she says about her education at AKU. Another example is Zulfikar Bhutta, who for many is our founding director of the Center for Excellence in Women and Child Health. And he's received many, many accolades and prizes, but I think is recognized as one of the foremost experts on mother and child health. Written up, or his papers are in all of the journals. He's well sought after to be at conferences and so on, and he speaks to the type of people that AKU has. The second part of the vision was creating new knowledge, but not just for the sake of creating knowledge, but knowledge that makes an impact, that actually changes something. This is Dr. Nazia Riaz, who's shown, she's the breast cancer expert in stem cells that you heard about yesterday. She works with Professor Nasir Lalani, and she has done work in looking at how we can use stem cell treatment for breast cancer, and that's a particular example. The other ways where we've used knowledge with impact is in looking at solutions that help people who are in poverty, in isolation, living in remote areas, and how can they also receive the type of care that they deserve? And this is work that we do as well at AKU. We did a youth survey that some of you may have heard yesterday that Dr. Alex Awiti, who's a director of our East Africa Institute and our interim vice provost in East Africa, to look at the survey. And what did we find about the youth in East Africa? Their notions of aspirations and anxiety, particularly their notions of corruption and family, and how they feel about government and how they feel about their prospects in the future. This is the type of impact that the university has to make in the places, in the countries where we work, to help governments prepare better public policy so that they can improve the future for their people. The other vision that Hazar Imam had was to raise standards. Global standards, international benchmarks. You've heard all these words over the last day or so and this morning. And he, from the very beginning, has been pushing us to achieve international standards, the Joint Commission International Accreditation that our hospitals have in Karachi and Nairobi, as well as the hospital in Dar es Salaam, are all statements or examples of achieving international benchmarks in quality care. We received also the College of American Pathologists accreditation, which is one of the most difficult to obtain. And this says that the lab results that come out of our labs are of a standard that a US institution would have to meet. And that just gives you an example of that. We have a Center for Innovation in Medical Education, and this photograph is taken from there. It's a simulation center for teaching nurses, doctors, residents, others, students about medicine using technology, virtual reality. And so being at the forefront of what's happening in the world is also part of the vision that was articulated by Hazar Imam. The FMIC, which is the French Medical Institute for Children, that AKU manages on behalf of the AKDN, is the only children's hospital in Afghanistan, now the only women's hospital in Afghanistan. And we have a neonatal intensive care unit. It's the only one in the country. And it's at a very high standard. And other hospitals are emulating what we're trying to do, which is the role model vision that Hazar Imam had for what the university should do. Empowering women. You heard that more than half of our students are women and more than half of our faculty is women. And the particular focus on women's professions, women's standing in society, particularly nursing, was a pioneering effort by AKU and recognized worldwide for that. And this is a very important mission that I think we've managed to achieve it at a standard that's recognized worldwide. Today we have over 2,000. We did that in Pakistan, in East Africa. We have over 2,400 nurses that have graduated from AKU in a short period of time. These are nursing leaders who actually lead efforts in villages, in public health centers, in hospitals, and they bring standards that they've learned at AKU. And a survey of our nurses that we did, which is the alumni survey, said that 98% said they develop leadership skills, self-esteem, and confidence, which is what they need when they're working in villages without a doctor and responsible for people's health. A very big ethic of the Aga Khan Development Network of all institutions is serving the disadvantaged. And for us, you can see examples of it here. This is one of the schools in Quetta in Balochistan, where one of the graduates that came from our institute teaches. And this is at the level at which we're making an impact. Here's an example of our patient welfare program, where we support patients who cannot afford care in any of our hospitals or healthcare centers. Over 700,000 patients receive this care every year. And this is an example. This is Ahmed. He has leukemia. His father is a laborer, of course, cannot afford the expensive treatment, and our patient welfare program has supported this. So this is a part of supporting the disadvantaged. The economic impact that universities make is not generally understood. People think about universities where people go to study and produce good graduates, but Hazar Imam told us at the very beginning that we need to understand the economic impact of a university. Universities employ people, they buy goods, they create knowledge, that create income, that create wealth. Well, we did a study based on that guidance for Pakistan. And this is a little dated. So in 2015, we showed, through this study done by independent experts from former economists from the World Bank, that AKU puts every year over $1 billion into the economy in Pakistan. Now, we are a small university, but you think about the impact that this university is making, and every year that number goes up. This is just in Pakistan. We haven't done studies elsewhere because we haven't been there long enough, but it's very important that our alumni, our faculty, and the knowledge we produce are all part of the economy. Most people don't realize that AKU employs today, in all the countries where we operate, almost 17,000 people. That's jobs that have a salary, that create economic activity in countries. And most people don't realize the economic impact of universities, but this is just an example of that. A very big part of the mission of the university was to help overcome ignorance. And Hazrat Imam talks about the clash of ignorance, particularly when we talk about the understanding of the Muslim world and of Muslims. And this is a picture of a building that you visited yesterday, the Aga Khan Center, where the three institutions that you saw, the Institute of Ismaili Studies, the Aga Khan Foundation UK, and AKU's Institute for the Study of Muslim Civilizations is located. And you can see that this is a really incredible home for us to now make an impact, attract people, to do public engagement through this particular asset that has come about. And this is the mission that we continue to work on, and you will hear more about it in the future. The word pluralism is something that you've heard often. It's again an ethic that Hazrat Imam is very, very keen on. He talks about not just and through action in creation of the Global Center for Pluralism in Ottawa, but also through the work we do, all the institutions that do. And at AKU, this is a very important part of how we help reduce tension between ethnicities and tribes and places. How do we bring that voice about? How do we inculcate that into our students, into our faculty, and into our staff and the people we influence? And that's a very big part of our mission. And this is an example of some of our postgraduate medical education students or residents in Dar es Salaam. And finally, one of the most important aspects that we talked about is how do we use the generosity that you and others have extended to us, and how do we actually use it for the benefit of achieving this vision. So this is a picture of when the campus that we have in Karachi was a construction site. And all of you have played a major role in bringing it from that point, because many of you have been donors from almost the first day of the university's founding. And just to give you an idea, this now looks like this. The campus is changing every day. There are many colleagues that we have here from Karachi who will tell you every day there's a change happening on campus. There's a lot coming about, and I'll give you some examples of it in a second. But also, your generosity is not just about buildings. It's about helping us provide financial assistance, because you know we are a needs-blind institution, which means we don't ask the student when they apply whether they can afford to attend the university. If they are admitted, then we will help them support. And this is true for all the institutions of the AKDN. And that's a big part of how your generosity is how we're able to do that, as well as the patient welfare program that you heard earlier, and not forgetting the great buildings that we're able to build. So we started from one country in Pakistan, and we're now in 6 countries. And you've seen the expansion that has taken place. I'm about to show you now what the financial impact has been of your generosity on the university. So, if you look at this slide, since inception, 1983 to now, we have raised over 1.8, almost $1.9 billion. These are US dollars for the Canadians, just to help. So you can see the contributions. Maulana Hazrat Imam started with a massive donation to the university, and has continues to support the university ever since its founding. And you can see the 580 million, the purple slice of the pie, is money that donors have given us since inception. And 90% of that 580 million comes from the Ismaili community. $270 million is what we have received in international programmatic grants. So Canadian International Development Agency, or Global Affairs Canada now, USAID, DFID in the UK, the Japanese, the Germans, the French, and so on. These are the ones who support us. And we've actually borrowed about $143 million over this period of time. I just show this to you as a scale, that as a small university, It's been remarkable how much financial resources this university has been able to attract, and it's largely due to the fact that we have, as our foundation, the support from the Chancellor, but also support from the Jamaat, who come forward, and this gives us the opportunity and the ability to go and raise money from others, because we can say, here's our money, now we would like you to augment or add to this. So this is a really appropriate, I think, statement from our Chancellor for this occasion. It says, "I'm proud to salute the donors who have shared the goals of this young institution and have assisted it so much in their accomplishment. The university's success stories down through history have depended on a variety of external resources, and we're indebted to those who have provided such resources for AKU." So our Chancellor expresses his gratitude and indebtedness to you, and I would certainly like to echo that. So you're going to hear later on this afternoon about AKU going forward, the next 35 years, if you like. But I wanted to just show you some of the work that's going on. This is the campus that we're developing in Kampala. This is an artist rendering. It's a hospital and an academic center with student residents. This is the University Center in Nairobi that is being put together. It's under construction right now, a state-of-the-art facility for teaching and learning to attract the top faculty and the students for the program. This is an artist rendering of the new expanded hospital in Kabul, the French Medical Institute for Children that I was talking about, which is a partnership with the French government and a French NGO. And what's interesting is in the background, you can see the context within which we work and what we're trying to create. We are just about to open this year a new private wing, which in Karachi, and I joke about it with my colleagues, and I say it's really a hotel pretending to be a hospital. It's supposed to be at a very high level because I think you understand, as Hazrat Imam has explained, we work on the Robin Hood principle. We charge people who can afford to pay for the services that we provide, the international standard services, and we use some of that money to support those who cannot afford to pay. So we need to continue to generate income for the university. The new University Center in Karachi, which will also house the launching of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. We're going to begin it here because we continue to struggle with government inaction and challenges in the main campuses that were originally envisioned. So this is where we will begin, and we're excited about this. You'll hear more about it later on this afternoon. And it's a big step to becoming a liberal arts university, which you will hear about later. And so you've heard about the planning that's taken place in Karachi and in Arusha, but as I explained, both the projects are on hold because of changes in the environment in these countries. So developing a liberal arts capacity will not only fulfill AKU's founding vision, but it will also follow in the tradition of the great Islamic universities of the past centuries. The liberal arts can provide an ideal context for fostering interdisciplinary learning, nurturing critical thinking, inculcating ethical values, and helping students to learn how to go on learning about an ever-evolving universe. A liberal arts orientation will also help prepare students for leadership. This is the driving vision, and we will be talking about more. We will hear from the Vice Chancellor, and then later on this morning we will discuss more about it. But it is what the AKU's vision, or the vision for AKU was since its founding, and this is where we are reflecting on. We've done most of our work in health and sciences and education, and we're just beginning to open new schools and faculties that deal with some of this. So the Chancellor, at the 2013 convocation, and all the quotes that I'm sharing with you came from this. It was a seminal speech, not because it took place in Karachi, but because it laid out the vision for the university for the next period of time. So I would like to end by just reading this. It says, "These will seem to be ambitious goals. Some might say they were too ambitious, but I disagree. Our goals were ambitious after all back in 1983, and yet if we could have glimpsed into the future then, I think we would have been very happy with the way the story has unfolded." So this is the Chancellor's assessment of what we've achieved, and I want to again end by thanking all of you for your support, for being here, for participating in this, and for your ongoing generosity to the university. Thank you.